At this point, I'm starting to feel like the house of God is the devil's playground. Tell me why this man murdered his ex-girlfriend and decided to go to church the next day as though nothing happened. Why did he feel so comfortable to go to the house of God the next day after committing such heinous crime? Tell me why. I will tell you why. So on the 6th of February 2025, a young woman named Ememe Efang was strangled to death by her ex-boyfriend, Ndifreke Isaiah, at her own house in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Ememe was said to be the sister of a popular guitarist, and she was also a businesswoman. She had a business, she had a shop, she was an entrepreneur, a beautician, and also a dedicated member of the church. She was in the choir, apparently. Now, Ndifreke Isaiah happened to also go to the same church. He was in the usher of the church and was some kind of youth pastor per se. And as all church love story begins, they meet and they started dating. Of course, it makes sense. A church girl wants a God-fearing man, and apparently Ndifreke Isaiah fits that bill because look at him, he is in the spirits. Pictures of him kabashing is everywhere on his profile. So this is the ideal man that a God-fearing woman would think would be her perfect fit. Little did she know, she was dating a psychotic, poverty-stricken broke demon who had his own ulterior motive. Because let's face it, anyone who is a devoted Christian that is capable of doing what this man did, all the while is faking and pretending to be who he's not. And there are so many of his type in church today. So many. We are just waiting for them to make the news. It's not clear how long they dated for, but I cannot presume that it was long enough, given the monster that is in him. Somewhere along the line, they broke up. It was even said that while they were dating, she gave him a spot in her shopping complex, to give him a business. She was pretty much empowering him. That's how you know that he came here with ulterior motive. He was jobless, so she gave him an opportunity. And when the relationship ended, she took it back. It turns out that he's also abusive, but I don't know if it was something that people knew because it was also stated that she kept it to herself for the most part. However, her neighbors and people around kind of have seen him being abusive towards her. They have seen him maltreat her. They have seen him talk rudely to her. Pretty much they've seen him being abusive. And it could also be that that was why she broke up with him. I could not imagine if there was any other reason. However, Ndifreke did not take the breakup very well. He kept begging her and he kept asking to come back. Like most abusers that we know, they are some of the best beggars. They are some of the best apologetic people. They will abuse the living daylight out of you and beg you in the best way possible, only to go back to do exactly what they've been doing. But Ememe pretty much picked up on the hint and she's like, nah, I'm done. No, it's over. But Ndifreke did not take it well. He kept stalking her. He would, chase her down after church to beg her for a meeting. But clearly he would behave himself there because it's a church. He would go to her apartment uninvited. Thankfully, she had a neighbor who spotted that this guy keeps doing too much. And whenever Ndifreke would come to her apartment building, Ememe's neighbor would confront him and ask him to leave. Unfortunately, on this day, the 6th of February, the said neighbor was not around. And there wasn't many people around. Only Ememe was pretty much in her apartment and every other person in the compound were minding their business. It is possible that Ememe confronted him and asked him, why are you here? However, there's a chance that he found a way inside the house, which I'm assuming would be she most likely had let him in, because if the killing happened outside, I'm sure somebody would have seen it. But it happened to be inside the house, which means he begged to enter. And she most likely thought he had something good to say. I mean, I can see that she probably had a soft spot for him. But again, that would have been a risky choice to make, given that he has been stalking you. So pretty much eventually when he got in, he most likely would have apologized. And again, she most likely would have turned him down. And unable to win her heart over, he decided to pounce on her, attack her, strangle her, and then proceeds to steal her mobile phone. That's how you know he's a broke ass nigga. That's how you just know that this man It was material all along. Steal her mobile phone, steal her ATM, and also steal the keys to her shop. Lord have mercy. Somewhere in my mind, I'm thinking maybe if he had just been the devil and killed her and then left, we would understand that this was a crime of passion. That is what I would understand. Okay, crime of passion. But for you to steal these properties, for you to steal the shop that you've been asked to leave, goes to show you that this is not a crime of passion. This is a thief. This is a thief. This is a criminal. This man did not love this girl. He just hated the fact that he could no longer use her head. Men like this try to get naive women who are desperate for marriage. That is why they go to the church, because they see so many of this type. Many women are there praying for husbands, and the devil keeps sneaking in these demons because they know that that is the place. They can't go to the streets to use a street girl's head, because these girls on the street, their eyes have opened. Their eyes don't see. Now the church girls, the good ones, the naive ones, that they can deceive with their manipulative, looking holy, pretending to be in God's good side, because that is the thing these women are looking for, a God-fearing man. And these demons keep coming into this church to play the role very well. Unfortunately for Indifreke, MMA caught his stupidity. She most likely saw right through him, because most women would have fallen for the deceit, and the relationship would go on, and when he begs, she would let them in. But I assumed she knew who this nigga is. She probably did not know the extent to which he would go. And when she probably figured it out, it was most likely too late. Now, the stupid thing this man now decides to do is to remove her SIM and put his own SIM into her phone. I'm sure he was using an Android and she was using an iPhone. So this was a good opportunity for him to show off. Stupid. He's just as stupid as he looks. Then he decides to go to church the next day. I think the next day was probably a Friday, and maybe that was when he was doing his youth pastoring. Apparently, from sources we hear, he was pastoring the youth, and somehow, some way, that same day, apparently, when church members did not see her in church, they were worried for her. Remember, she's a dedicated church person, so her not showing up was something that could easily be spotted, and her not picking a call was something that would be alarming. If she was one of those girls who come to church this week and don't come to church the next week, she would have probably been in her house dead for pretty much that same 1 week and nobody would notice. But the fact that people know she's consistent and constant in church was what drove her fellow church members to go check on her, only to find her dead. And instantly the police were involved. Instantly the conversation was had, and instantly they figured out who their first suspect would be. Because people are saying these things. I'm sure somebody saw him enter the compound. And people have been seeing him come into that compound, stalking her. So even if nobody was there to fight him, even if nobody was there to rescue her, because it most likely happened inside her house, somebody saw you enter. I'm sure there's a security man who saw you. And once the security man gives the police the details, or somebody will say, oh, I saw somebody go into the house, they knew who they were looking for. And the police came to the church the very next day still. And when Indifreke spotted men approaching him, he decided to fake a phone call with the girl's mobile phone and attempted to flee. But given how short he is and how small his legs were, he couldn't run very fast or very far. So he was caught and eventually arrested. Just so ironic and funny that, is it that he's stupid? Where did he think he was? The thing with people is that they don't see that people like this, they always think that they are smart. They always think that nobody can see through them. They always assume that they are invincible, that they can do certain things and get away with it. The thing is, the only reason why he came to church was because the church was the one place that covered him up. When people use this church to cover up their demons, it becomes the place for them to keep hiding. And that's something I've noticed with a lot of these church goers. Not just any type of church goers, but church goers like this. Men who go to church to create a facade, to create an image of themselves. Look at it now. This is clearly him posing for the camera. I would not be surprised he asked the photographer, please, when I'm praying, come and snap me. I will not be surprised. I will not. I can bet that that was the case here. Even though church people catch people in their moment, but this one, he asked the photographer to do it for him. Okay, maybe since he's a youth pastor, they most likely did it for free. However, that is the thing with these people. They assume the church is where they hide. It's like a green snake in the green grass. And to this particular green snake, the church is his green grass. That is why they will do the crime and still come back to church, because they feel like that is where nobody will see them. That's where nobody will see or see through them, because the MMS saw through him outside of church. And when his story even came outside, somebody made a comment. A young lady made these comments, also accusing him of being a rapist. And she also, I think, goes to the same church. She pretty much talked about how he promised to give her money and help her learn some skills, and told her to come to the shop, which I think is the MMS shop that they gave to him. So he's now using it to trick young girls. And when she went there, he tried to rape her and she left, only for her to come to church the next day and see him kabashing. See him doing the holy and holiest of all things. And, such a thing in that same church, even if she had spoken up, nobody would believe her. Because how can you say this man tried to rape you? Look at him. He's God-fearing. Look at his face. He's in the spirit. God is speaking through him. He would never do so. Nobody would have believed her. Nobody would have believed her. And they know these things. That is why they keep coming to the church. I hope more churchgoers or more women who are desperately looking for a God-fearing husband in the house of God, y'all be careful. You better know what you're dealing with. This is not the first story. I can give you a list of multiple stories where the churchgoers like this end up being the killer. The Port Harcourt serial killer from years back was the best churchgoer out there, was the ideal man of God, was the ideal God-fearing man that any woman who is looking for a husband in a church would fall for, and it turned out to be a serial killer. And yeah, we have this one. Serial rapist, serial killer, serial thief. Big thief. Look at his forehead.